Seminole State family. Welcome to Research Rally Live. We are faculty librarians at Seminole State College of Florida. I'm Nicole.
Jason.
Hi, Russ.
And we want to spend the next 30 minutes doing research with you. We are about to search, sift, sort, and suss our way through several sources. As always, we want to hear from you in the chat, especially if you have a research question. But before we get into that, let's find out what's going on at Seminole State College this coming week. And for that, we have a very special recurring guest, Miss Andrea.
Hey!
Hey, Andrea.
Gosh, I was like mid-yawn. Sorry.
Oh,
wow.
God. This is live TV, Andrea.
On the internet.
Yeah. So the rest of this week is all focused on what do you want to be when you grow up and how to get there, it seems. So activities going on. Everything's in Raider Connect if you want to RSVP, but it looks like we've got some career interest sessions going on. How to be successful in your first semester, time management, all kinds of good things to help you be the best student that you can be. And then once you do all that fun stuff, don't forget to come on over to the library Monday. Our very own Ross will be doing a game time session on Monday in the library. It's brand new every Monday, 2 p.m. Come hang out. So do all the things you need to do and then come get some stress off your back playing some games. So there you go.
Sweet.
Nice.
Also, Andrea mentioned Raider Connect. Jason, that sounds so radio. I can't wait to listen to you talk for the next 30 minutes.
Thank you, Nicole.
Raider Connect, that's all the events, most all the events, especially the ones for FYE credit. And then we also we're very followable at Nerdbird SSC on Instagram, helmed by our very own Andrea here, with the help of others in the library. So thank you, Andrea. And before we let you go and start getting into this, we need a data point from Andrea. Andrea, did you watch any of the presidential debate last night?
Not 1 second. Sorry.
Not even 1 second?
Not even 1 second. No.
I
didn't
watched
even turn the
minutes.
TV on.
Okay, so we've got that. I barely watched 1 minute of it. Jason watched 0 seconds of it.
0.
Okay. So we just got to get some data points. All right. Thanks, Andrea.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Make sure to
All
put
right.
your name in the chat. Make sure to put your professor's name in the chat. We'll give you the attendance credit link at the end of today's session. Back to you, Nicole.
All right. So that was our first data point. Data pant.
Data pants. Who's got their data pants
we're-
on?
We're getting in the thick of it today. We were like, okay, what's a topical topic? And we're like, oh, the presidential debate. So it's a polarizing topic, political polarization. We know it's very common, but hey, we like to get into it. And it gives us an opportunity today to talk about Snopes, fact checking, probably some of our newspaper I can't talk though. Newspaper databases where we're going to find some news on what went down. And we're just going to sift and sort on this. Again, the data points. I barely watched any of it. I feel like I couldn't stomach it, honestly. That was my point of view. And Ross watched 30 minutes.
I think I made it about 30 minutes before I fell asleep. I mean, I usually am in bed by 9 p.m., so I did my best, but I think I made it about 30 minutes before I fell asleep on the couch.
Okay, so falling asleep on the couch in the debate, that's a data point.
It was a weird scene. I live
yeah?
in a condo in downtown Orlando, and there's a little room there where people can go and hang out. And like all these bros came in, and they were gonna play poker. Like they had the whole poker set up and everything or whatever. And then when I walked by, they were all watching the debate. So they were broing out watching the debate. They had their like brewskis, and they were all like, I don't know, chilling and watching the debate. So I thought that was such a strange scene. There was like 13 of them. Like, what's up, bro? Who are you gonna vote for? I was like, oh, okay, good. All right, we're getting okay. I got it. Good.
All right. So we have how many viewers, Jason?
Nicole, the eyeball says 23, and according to my math, carry the 1 with a fraction. That's 4.7 million voters or
Nice.
viewers
The pressure
or voters.
Voters too.
It's both.
So, yeah. So I see. We got some students shout out. Oh, Professor
Yeah.
Jim Roland.
What's
Okay.
your
So
name?
if you watch the debate at all, let us know in the chat. Let us know. Did you watch it? We're curious.
That's
We're
the
gonna
first
talk
question.
about-
Give us a Y, give us an N. Did you watch?
Yeah.
Did you watch the
Yes
debate?
or
Are you
no?
plugged in? Are you gonna vote? There's an
Jason-
election coming up.
Why didn't you watch the debate? Out of curiosity.
I don't think it matters for me. I whatever their sides are gonna be. Oh, we got some chatter going in here in the
Ooh.
chat about the debate. We'll take it out in the voting box.
Okay.
I think it's always like a different thing with any sort of American who has the right to vote. It's always such a weird sort of pigeonhole thing. And now in today's kind of hot climate, it's kind of like, who are you voting for? Tell me. You better say the right answer. Otherwise, we're going to get into it. Nah, I'm good. I'll go in the booth.
Okay.
I'll vote. How about you?
Okay. I thought it made me nervous because I feel like to me, I see the debate as like kind of like a fight, right? And I don't really want to watch a fight. I mean, it's a diplomatic fight, but it's contentious naturally. I mean, and I guess maybe now more than ever, again, that's why the social science video contest theme this fall for the video contest is political polarization, very timely, because we are, I think people generally agree, more politically polarized than ever. And it's just like, it just feels ick. It feels heavy. So I figured I would probably digest portions of the debate and other content where people are analyzing it. Now, here's the danger here. Whatever my bias is, I'm probably going to end up looking at content that is like towards my bias and confirms my bias, perhaps. So in that sense, I am thinking I got to be careful. If I want to digest content from the debate, like live clips, I'm going to pay attention to, is someone presenting it, more in favor of one candidate or the other? And if that feeds into my bias, I have to make sure that I don't like feed too much into that. Does that make sense? I want to step back and think as objectively as possible. But on that note, Ross, we talked about that the debate is basically like, it's a lot of scripting. And that's a concern for getting informational content, right?
Yeah, I mean, the way I look at one of those debates is sort of like two people giving persuasive speeches to me, and I look at it like I want to see what kind of evidence they're presenting. I mean, that's what we're doing when we talk about research, right? We're trying to verify claims and that kind of stuff there. But I guess what I took away from it last night was that a debate is largely an exercise in this information literacy idea, right? People are posing all of these claims, all of these ideas, and for the most part, they put it back on us to verify and make our own decisions. I mean, that's your job in a persuasive speech. You're supposed to give me the evidence enough that I can make my own choices. And I thought it was kind of interesting to see, like, the moderators are also doing a little bit of real-time fact checking. But this morning when I woke up, that's the first thing I did was I went to some fact checking websites and said, like, what did they say? I mean, I only saw a little part of it, but how much of this should I even trust? Because like you said, Nicole, like, part of it is a little scripted too. Like, I mean, they've been practicing for these for a long time. So, I'm really looking for evidence when I watch these.
Yeah, they.
So, Jason, what are you looking for?
Oh, they never really. It's never like, say it's you and me, Nicole, and we're debating. It's never like, Nicole, the sun is yellow, and you're like, no, it's orange, Jason. I'm like, well, some days it kind of looks yellow, Nicole.
I mean,
it's always
any day it both might be true.
Sure, but it's always like this, Nicole. It's always like, what color's the sun, Jason? Well, I don't know. Nicole's a terrible candidate, and you shouldn't vote for her. It just goes right into it. No, we're not talking about any of the things on the ballot. We're not talking about any of the issues. We're not talking about anything. We're just saying, oh, I don't know. Are you going to ask Nicole first? Because, she's the most terrible person in the world. It's like, what?
Of course.
And clearly, Nicole, I'm teasing here. I'm not debating you.
Sure,
like that.
Jason.
Oh, Nicole, we talk like this now.
Meet me out by the dumpsters.
Yeah, by the bike racks.
That's a Cybertruck. That's not a dumpster. The other dumpster, the real dumpster.
I thought this debate was good, as neither candidate has done anything. Okay.
Good.
That's
That's
the
interesting.
Scripted until
I highlighted that, because so yes, they hadn't really done anything scripted, right? So like then it was like a comparison of reading scripts or like the memorized scripts. Interesting point.
Yeah, so Faded Bowls.
competition.
And make sure Faded Bowls, we get your real name unless that's on your birth certificate, but we got to get you some credit here. But yeah, it is kind of that. And I think that's to that point of Faded Bowls, that rallies up the troops on either side. And so it's really not about, and then everyone's pouring millions and millions and millions into political action committees. It's very different the way things are done here in the United States with elections versus, around the world. And the debate for that time, then you're going to say, well, what channel is it on? What network? Well, that's biased. Who are the commentators? They're biased. Then you flip it to another network and on the other side of the spectrum, and you say, oh, they're biased. Who are the commentators? They're biased. So everybody's biased? Just go in the booth and vote.
Well, it's like, if you argumentative paper, any issue you could write and get an A on an argumentative paper on either side of an issue. Like what's a common one? Like I can't think. Anyway, what I'm to your point, like you're going to have points that argue your point. It's just like kind of like a show. It's like, what are we really learning here?
Well, there was a Saturday Night Live skit with Kenan Thompson, and the whole joke, the whole moral of the story is whatever's wrong, fix it. And that's kind of my viewpoint. Like, how are you gonna fix it? How are you not gonna take any more of my money? How is everything gonna be cool when I wake up every day? And what are you gonna do to help for the next 4 years? And I don't know if those questions came out in that sort of like just clipped way. And I definitely know the answers did not come back, because somehow in this political spectrum, they're just going back and forth against each other. And it's been in the comments, and everyone's just watching, eating popcorn, going, ooh, oh, did you hear that? Oh, and then conspiracy theorists are, oh, she's got a, oh, he's got a, did anything come out of the debate? They took every chance to bash each other. Sure. So where were the stance on the items that are going to be on the ballot? Like,
I always wondered, like, what would happen if like one candidate like literally like went total high road and like didn't bash at all and acted like so gracious, like completely, where basically you could say, oh, they're getting walked all over. That's never really happened. We do see the bashing usually from both sides. So honestly, and I think it's, you know where the debate is? You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of a place we know all too well, Jason and Rob.
Petty Valley.
Took a trip.
Hey, baby, population 2. But in the chat here, I know a lot of younger folks. Could this maybe be your first election? Are you voting in your first election? Are you voting? And what do you think of this kind of setup? Because somebody had put in the chat earlier, doopity-doo, flappity-flee. It was something about makes you not want to vote. And definitely, that's totally up to you. But is that what it is? These folks? Wait, what's all coming in here?
That's always wondered what if nobody voted. Anyway, so let's start to get into
screaming fight.
And nobody likes that. I feel like our younger people, like, they're really like wising up to like they don't want any of that messiness, the pettiness.
Right.
And I think that's a good sign. Now, whether or not someone's going to vote or not, I mean, that's like kind of a whole nother issue. But I like seeing that people, and especially younger people, I mean,
we're getting a lot of yeses.
About like, no, I don't approve. I don't like this behavior. So Ross, you got your screen share, so we're going to add it to the stage, and let's start talking about if there are things that the candidates said in the debate. Because our question today, are presidential debates accurate? I guess this could be a paper topic, but by accurate meaning like, are true things said that could be used because they're facts? Are the debates accurate? All right.
Thanks, Aiden.
Yeah. Well, so I just ran a search here for just like political fact checking sites. There's a lot of them out there. And there's some really, really reputable ones. Just scrolling through there, like the factcheck.org is pretty good. I saw AP News does a pretty good job with their fact checking. PolitiFact is a really good one. I think, are they from Tampa? I think originally they were out of, I remember they had some kind of local affiliation.
Wait, there's fact checkers for the fact checkers? I mean,
facts on facts on facts.
Oh, we got a video. Wait, hold on.
Show me the facts.
That's one of my favorites, guys. See, when we see a Sussburger, you want to get the fact shown to you. Sussburger! Plugging in. You know what's sus? That I spelled sus wrong. That's how you know that video was made by an Xennial and not a Gen Z.
Oh. So basically in the chat, have you used any of these fact-checking sites? Are you aware of them? Let us know. And then Ross is going to kind of walk us through, because some people don't even know that these exist, right? The whole purpose of these sites is to take something and go, wait a minute. And of course, a debate, somebody can just say back to, Nicole and I, Nicole wants to raise your taxes $500 trillion. And the audience is like, boo, Nicole, boo, yay, Jason. And then afterwards, it's like, no, she actually just wants to raise it like 1%.
That's it.
So in a debate, everything can be inflated for the ego. So we got PolitiFact, Ross.
Yeah, I pulled PolitiFact. This is one that I just remember. It was becoming, kind of prominent in there when I was starting to become aware of voting and things like that. So I've always remembered it as one there. But they do a really good job of taking these claims that are presented showing you the actual evidence of like what they can prove, right? And if they can't prove it, they'll say that too. They're like, I can't say one way or another. Maybe there's some evidence here, that kind of stuff.
Hold on, let's pause here. Let's think about this. How do you trust fact checkers if they're already fact checkers?
That's a good. It's like when you look into the mirror. If you're in a mirror behind you and you see like an endless infinity of mirrors, it's like, well, how far do we go down this like road of like? I get it. I mean, I concur. I think it's kind of that's a question.
I think there's an element of trusting your sources, no matter what it is. I mean,
correct.
I know PolitiFact has a reputation that I think is a pretty good one overall. I mean, lots and lots of credible organizations out there are affiliated with PolitiFact. So I tend to trust them on there. But like you said, like there are lots of these sites out there, and you kind of have to do your research a little bit on who is responsible for fact checking. Is it a nonpartisan group? Those are the things you want to ask yourself.
And again, we're using the election and we're using last night's debate as sort of a springboard for information literacy, which we are teaching you in all of your classes, your English, your humanities, your history, your speech. How are you able to locate information and then analyze that information for credibility? That's the main part. And then how do you use that credible information that you've located from a reliable source for a purpose, which is usually your assignment. But in the real world, it could be anything from buying a house to having a child to anything. You're always going to be doing research. So again, when somebody comes on, and especially I think what happens is people get jaded. They're like, well, they said it on television. It's got to be true. Now, clearly back in the 50s and 60s when television, the medium was first starting, I think that was a little more pervasive. Everyone's like, well, he said it. That's Walter Cronkite. That's Mike Wallace. He said it on the news, so it's true. But now I think we're always looking to be like, who said that? Don't you do this in your real life, you guys? Hey, guess what? Blah, 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 blah. Who told you that? Where'd you hear that from? So we do that all the time, but we don't want to do it with people who are going to have the nuclear codes for the country, right? Who's the most powerful person on the planet? What do we got here from Sierra?
Well, and I found on their site, like they have a whole page dedicated to explaining their process, how they do it, who's affiliated with this. They have no partisanship.
And that transparency is important, Ross.
It is, but we always do talk about with information literacy and information that we know that we all cannot completely extract the bias we have out of ourselves.
Sure.
Everybody everywhere carries some degree of bias into every information seeking and information evaluating situation. So we're supposed to know that and navigate with it and around it and check it. So I think that's important to know, because even a fact checker has an opinion. They're a person. They're not a bot. They're not an AI. They have a heart and a soul and lungs and a heart, and you're going to come across that naturally. How
about Google News? Can you pull up Google News, Ross? Usually on the bottom of the Google News page, there's a couple different fact checking options on the bottom too. And then we can go back into the chat. Do you students in any of your classes, how do you evaluate or how do you fact check? Let's use that kind of phrase for your assignments. How do you know what you're putting into your assignments? By the way, you're paying for the class, you're getting the grade, it's going on your transcript, and it's your name that's going to be, hey, Nicole, it's your name that's going to be on the diploma.
I meant to focus on you.
How do you fact check? Give us your way of fact checking, or in the chat, give us an example on how you evaluate something. An example is before you cross the street, you would probably want to look both ways to make sure that there's no traffic coming, right? So that's an evaluation. So go ahead and put that in the chat. What are we looking up, Ross? Do we have the Google News or no?
Well, I pulled up Google News, but I just kind of searched political debate, and I didn't see any specific fact-checking sources on it.
Oh, I just do proper Google News with no topic.
Here's
your briefing, okay. All the way on the bottom. All the way on the bottom.
All the way on the bottom?
All the way on the bottom. Drop it like it's hot.
Fact check.
Fact check.
Okay.
Maybe I'll show mine.
Yeah, I'm just like in an endless scroll.
Is it not what you thought it would see here, Jason?
Yeah, usually on the bottom, mine shows fact check.
There was a section down there. I saw it too.
What? Fact check.
Yeah.
Yep.
PolitiFact.
You got it right here? So usually on the bottom, what this has, can you see the screen now? Usually it shows kind of what this is. And the way I like, so AFP fact check, I don't know if we talked about that really quick. It has the claim, really quick. And then it has the fact check by AFP fact check false. And then you can drill down into this and it'll explain why it's false. And again, who wrote this? Where is this information? All of that kind of stuff. And so here's this, and it'll tell you, so here's who wrote it, here's the date, here's where it came from. And I would probably go down, they got X's and crossing stuff out, and I see a cat and a duck in the water, and there's a lot of stuff. So, I mean, you really got to start drilling down to this. And then as Ross was doing, I'd look on this page to find out who they are. I'd probably go over to the About and see about AFP, how we work, editorial and ethics standards. Just by posting any of this is really good. Just consider that. The site that doesn't post this, that's the sketch, right? That's the sus. That's the 2 o'clock in the morning. You get a knock on your door, and you're like, "Oh, flower delivery." no, I don't think so. No, this is
Notice Jason clicked. We clicked into that. That's what we do when we sift, right? We don't just like graze across something and be like, "Oh yeah, that's it." We click on the links, click on the sources, click and dig down into it to make sure that we're sifting and sorting through that, not just taking like the top for any one source on its own is not exactly. Yeah, you want to see how many different places. By the way, can you pop up that screen with that picture? Sidebar, I think Trump changed his self tanner because he's less orange now. And maybe you hear all the noise, the news about how he was orange. He looks less orange. It's just a sidebar conversation here. I'm just pointing that out. And they did something different with his hair.
You're right, I don't know.
It doesn't matter. Hey, I've heard it before and I don't have a source, so it's an anecdote. But supposedly the better looking candidate, like who generally is seen to be the better looking candidate, wins.
So Kim is a frog. Make sure don't just read the
tale.
Maybe, but I think he made that that was a political move to make it less orange, to make it more relatable.
Like
it wasn't like hey, today I'm not putting this on. Nobody in these positions make those kind of decisions. It's all motivated by something. But if you're just going to Google it, make sure Kim is a frog. Don't just look at the first couple results. Try to check through.
And if for anyone that doesn't know, FR is for
real. And Kim is a frog. If that's your real name, awesome. If that's not your real name, let us know in the chat. Yeah, thanks, Mom.
You're welcome. I get a lot of practice being an embarrassing mom, so I'm going to come on here at work and I'm going to be embarrassing mom at work too. I'm pulling up the library website just to point out to everybody that's watching that perhaps if a professor wants you to get sources from the library databases, this is where you're going to find it. Of course, we're on the internet. We're picking up PolitiFact and other websites that could definitely be useful for good information. But we also have the databases here, and we have a category for news and current events. So if you were doing a paper and you wanted, or some assignment, and you wanted sources from the database on this topic, the recent presidential debate, or even prior presidential debates, you could go to one of our newspaper databases. Ross, what's your favorite news for news?
I mean, if I'm just looking for newspaper articles, that U.S. Newsstream is really good.
You like that one? It's got a good interface. I'm always about the interface. Is the interface
it has a
really good?
It has a good collection of newspapers too. It's pretty packed.
Okay, so if I just search presidential debate, I can see, is it just going to pull up the most recent one, i.e. yesterday? And remember, information timeline, it happened. So campaign 92. Gonna have to be more specific. Dominate the debate, the vote, 2000. Ooh,
all right, Jonathan, we see you. A lot in the chat. I just want to call out, not anybody individually, but when folks say I use, credible sources, I'm kind of boomeranging it back to you. How do you know that? And some folks said, well, I go to multiple sources and it says it's true. Well, how do you know that? How are you verifying that information? Are there multiple sources that are saying the wrong information? I mean, on the information timeline, when that news comes out, it's coming out really fast, especially from social media or Twitter or TikTok or IG or something like that. And then later we found out, oh, that wasn't the case. That small little child is not in the well. We all thought something was down there. We all made that mistake. So I'm coming back to you in the chat and maybe kind of follow up if you could. How do you when you say you use trustful sources or you use reliable sources, can you verify to me how they're reliable and trustworthy? I'm just asking because I think your professor might ask too. Yeah.
I feel like these are bad screen caps here. Like this is not the face. This is not the screen cap I'd want in the news database.
I don't think they get the final cut.
Excuse me, this is a presidential nominee. You're using my wrong avatar for the.
So I went ahead and I manually entered a date range that was just in the past 3 days. I got 20 results. Wait,
there you go, Sierra.
1600. But okay, so blah blah blah. All right, so this is telling me, a New York Times article telling me how to tune into the presidential debate. So that might bring some interesting information of like,
Jonathan.
A heads up of like, okay, they might maybe spotlight some of the pitfalls of the debate format. Okay, is that debate format accurate? Well, yes and no, probably. Again, we've talked today about it's scripted, more or less. They do know, I don't think we mentioned this in the past half hour, but they usually do know what's going to be talked about. They don't really have like surprise questions or topics. They know, like Jason, you pointed out, those headlining topics that everyone's talking about, or that
they have a response. They have a canned response to that. But just like the three of us, and then them, when you get into a conversation, sometimes stuff starts elevating. Nicole, how many viewers do we have? And I say it's $800 trillion. I might be exaggerating a little bit and adding dollars to viewers. I might get confused on national television with 50 million people watching, and I might try to do my best to get voters and donors. Right? So you may inflate things a little bit, which is probably why you need a good fact checker. There we go, Aiden chiming in. Those were accurate based on their
I mean,
debate faces.
These students are not playing around. They are like standing on business about this messy behavior, and I'm here for it. I think it's really responsible, and I'm excited to that people are talking about it. I know, Jason, you mentioned earlier in the broadcast, like people kind of want to step back and be like, they don't want to get into it, and I respect that too. But we don't want to avoid the tough stuff.
Yeah, Brandon, we mentioned a few. Sorry, go ahead, Nicole.
Someone came up to the desk the other day and they had a history book, and they're like, if I check this out, am I going to be like put on a list basically, or am I going to be like,
right? And
I said, well, first of all, when you check out stuff, we by law we don't tell anyone what you checked out. Okay. And when you return it, doesn't stay on your library record. And okay, yes, this book is about something that's like a terrible part of history, but if we don't learn and like face the bad stuff, we can't avoid it in the future. Right. I think that's kind of the general wisdom, that circulates about these tough topics. And I guess the political stuff is part of that. So
just to rewind a little bit, make sure that there's an author and make sure there's a date. Try to find that information. If you come across the web, no matter the web domain, e.g. .com, .org, .gov, .edu, if you find text, words that is, on a page and there's no date and there's no author, I challenge you to tell me who wrote that information. Do it. Who wrote it? Where did the information come from? Who wrote it? So now we're finding some websites, we're finding some databases and whatnot. When you find an author, great. When you can click on the author's name and maybe there's a bio, awesome. When you can see a bio and a picture, fantastic. A bio, a picture, and an email address to continue the conversation, this is fantastic. Also try to look at the who is it, like, or what are we about? What are our ethical standards? What are our journalistic standards? AP News is fantastic with that. But you're the researcher. It's your duty. It's my duty. It's Nicole and Ross's duty. It's all of our duties, right? I just like saying duty. JK. But moving forward, like, we all have to keep doing this. There's no way. We have to ask someone else, where did you get the information? How do you corroborate
Here's all that type of information Jason's talking about. Author, source,
what's the date? Yeah.
Paying attention.
And by the way, multiple authors, where's the source? If you find 27 MDs, medical doctors in a medical journal, they're not putting their name and credibility on the line to be wrong, to be published in the it doesn't work that way. However, my next door neighbor, I tell him I have a toothache and he's like, oh, I'll fix it. I got a pair of pliers. He's not a dentist. He cannot help me. That is not a credible, reliable source. Do not go to him. Okay.
And if you remembered nothing we talked about today, please remember to be Be choosy with your newsy, people.
Choosy with your newsy. Nicole, I think I have a link here for attendance credit for
Oh,
first year experience.
perfect.
Yes, it's
I'm
in the
sure
chat.
we have
Go ahead.
people chomping at the bit to get their credit and head out.
Yes. Click
Okay,
it once. Click it.
Well,
Click it
as
once.
click that link once. And as we are doing that, we want to thank you for joining us today. Remember, we are librarians. We are here to assist you with research, citations, and information needs. There's no question too big, no question too small, no question too weird. Trust me, we're ready. We want to hear it all. We can save you time and we can save you stress. So why haven't we heard from you yet? Please let us know what you need. You can make a research appointment or use 24/7 chat, or all of those and additional contact options are linked on the library website at sem.st/library. And if you like hanging out with librarians, give us a like, a share, and subscribe today. We would really appreciate it. And
what's ALL? What's ALR, Nicole, Mom?
Oh, I don't know that one.
My guess is typo.
What's ALR?
Kim is
Maybe it's all
stay choosy? Are we all staying choosy?
Maybe.
Newsy choosy? All right, there's 25 viewers. There's 475 million viewers. Is that accurate? I don't know.
You're the numbers man.
Wait a minute. Did you just put all right? And then did you just put all right?
Oh. All right.
All right.
All right.
Okay. It means
I like it.
Oh, ALR means all right. Okay. I was born in the late 1700s, therefore I don't understand what's going on. I'm 400 years old vampire. Okay, where's our outro video?
I'm gonna be sitting here looking for it for a minute or two. Here we go. Bye,
Librarians,
guys.
master's degrees.